Then the Imam al-Barbahari, rahimahullah, he continued on what occurs on page 55 of the Saudi edition, the Saudi 2-volume edition, page 37 of the Egyptian print, or page 13 of the newer Egyptian print. And it's numbered as point number 1 in the book. So from now on we'll just refer to the point numbers. You can see whichever edition you have, what point number it will be, inshallah. So in this edition is point number 1, as we said, on page 55 of the Saudi edition. قال المؤلف رحمه الله اعلموا أن الإسلام هو السنة والسنة هي الإسلام ولا يقوم أحدهما إلا بالآخر. That the author rahimahullah said, know that Islam is the Sunnah and the Sunnah is Islam, and one of them cannot be established without the other. Shaykh Fawzan, hafidhahullah, he said in his explanation, he's saying, i'lam, know. This is a word used to show ihtimam, to show importance. And the meaning of i'lam, know, is ta'allam, learn, come to know, learn. And how will you know that Islam is the Sunnah? If you learn, then you will know that. If you learn the reality, then you will come to know that Islam, as the author said, is indeed the Sunnah, and the Sunnah is Islam. So i'lam, know, is a word which is brought to show the importance of that which comes after it. Just as He, the Most High, said, فَعْلَمْ أَنَّهُ لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا اللَّهُ وَاسْتَغْفِرْ لِذَنْبِكَ. Surah Muhammad, the 47th Surah, ayah 19. With the explanation, so know, فَعْلَمْ, so know that none has the right to be worshipped except Allah, and seek forgiveness for your sin. The Shaykh said, meaning, know the meaning of La ilaha illallah. Know the meaning of none has the right to be worshipped except Allah, and act upon it. And the Shaykh gives us a second ayah as evidence. اعلموا أن الله شديد العقاب وأن الله غفور رحيم. Surah Al-Ma'idah, the 5th Surah, ayah 97, or rather ayah 98. The explanation, know that Allah is severe in punishing, and that Allah forgives extensively and shows mercy. So the word i'lam, know, command in the singular, or i'lamu, know, a command in the plural, occurs to show the importance of that which comes after it. He's saying, al-Islamu huwa as-Sunnah wa as-Sunnatu hiya al-Islam. Islam is the Sunnah, and the Sunnah is Islam. Shaykh Fawzan said, meaning, Islam is the tariqah, Islam is the way which the messengers alayhimus salatu wassalam came with. And every messenger came with Islam. So every prophet called to Allah and came with a sharia, with a revealed way from Allah. So that is Islam. So Islam is the worship of Allah, the Mighty and Majestic, alone, at every time, with that which He legislated. In Islam, as an overall definition, that at every time, which applies to every time, that Islam is the worship of Allah, the Mighty and Majestic alone, at every time with what He legislated, with what was legislated at that particular time. And Allah legislated for the prophets ways and laws to last for appointed terms. Each of the prophets, each of the messengers, He legislated a certain sharia, certain law, certain way to last for an appointed time. Then He abrogated it. He brought some new law and abrogated the previous one. So when that was abrogated, then action came to be upon that which abrogated. That is Islam. So when any revealed law was abrogated, was replaced by a new one, then the new one which abrogated and replaced, that was Islam. Until all those revealed laws were abrogated by the revealed way sent to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Allah the Majestic and Most High says, لِكُلِّ أَجَلٍ كِتَابٍ يَمْحُ اللَّهُ مَا يَشَاءُ وَيُثْبِتُ وَعِنْدَهُ أُمُّ الْكِتَابِ. Surah Al-Ra'd, the 13th surah, ayahs 38 to 39. With the explanation, and the people of Tafsir, they have at least a couple of different explanations here, but amongst them is the explanation: there is an appointed time span for each book sent down by Allah. Allah abrogates and changes whatever He wishes, and He confirms. And the foundation of the book is with Him. Shaykh Fawzan said, so Islam is that which the messengers came with regard to the call and the action at every time with what was specific to it, until the sending of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam came about. And then Islam is whatever He came with, to the exclusion of everything else. And after the sending of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, then Islam is only what He came with, and nothing else. So therefore, whoever remains upon the previous religious ways and does not believe in Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, then he is not a Muslim. The Shaykh has indicated here what he mentioned before, that if someone were to say that I'm remaining upon a way which he claims to be a way of an earlier prophet, that this was Islam before, this will not be accepted from him. He cannot say, now that I'm a Muslim now. He will not be. For Islam now, after the sending of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, is only what he was sent with, nothing else. As the Shaykh said, whoever does not believe in Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, then he is not a Muslim. Since he has not yielded or submitted to Allah the Mighty and Majestic, and he has not obeyed this Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, because what he was upon has now ended and been abrogated, and remaining upon something abrogated, something replaced, is not a religion for Allah the Mighty and Majestic. Rather, acting on what abrogates, what comes later and replaces, that is the deen, that is the religion. Just as a small side point here, then the Shaykh, noble Shaykh Salih bin Sa'ad as-Suhaimi, Hafidhahullah, the teacher in Al-Madinah, he used to be in charge of the Department of Aqidah in Medina, he said, referring to this initial part of the explanation, or this initial part of Al-Barbahari's book, he said, he, rahimahullah, began with the fact that the Sunnah and Islam are inseparable. And what is meant by the Sunnah here is the Sunnah with its general meaning, which is the tariqah, the way which the Prophet ﷺ and his companions were upon. So this is Islam, and Islam is the Sunnah in this sense. In the Sunnah referring to the way that the Prophet ﷺ and his companions were upon. The Sunnah in that sense. So Islam, that is Islam, and Islam is that. Back to the explanation of Shaykh Salih al-Fawzan, he said, his saying was Sunnatu hiya al-Islam, and the Sunnah is Islam. Shaykh Fawzan said, there is no difference between these two. If we explain the Sunnah to mean the way, the tariqah, then there is no difference between it and Islam. In the way which the Prophet ﷺ and his companions were upon, if we explain the Sunnah meaning that, then that is Islam. That is Islam, and Islam is that. There's no difference between the two. He's saying, وَلَا يَقُومُ أَحَدُهُمَا إِلَّا بِالْآخَرِ, and one of them will not be established without the other one. Shaykh Fawzan said, Islam will not be established except through the Sunnah, and the Sunnah will not be established except through Islam. So the person who claims to be upon Islam but does not act upon the Sunnah, mean the way of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, then he is not a Muslim. And the person who knows of the Sunnah but does not submit to Allah, then he is not a Muslim, even if he knows about the Sunnah. So it is essential to combine both of them. That's where Shaykh Fawzan ends explanation of this sentence. And again, as another side point, then the noble Shaykh Ahmad ibn Yahya al-Najmi rahimahullah, he said in his explanation, Irshad al-Sari, on page 26, he said on this same point that Islam is the Sunnah and the Sunnah is Islam, and one of them will not be established without the other. Shaykh Ahmad al-Najmi rahimahullah, he said, Islam is the Sunnah and the Sunnah is Islam. How is that the case? Meaning that true Islam is the Sunnah. So whoever is upright upon the Sunnah and establishes it, then he has established Islam. And whoever deviates away from it, away from the Sunnah, and inclines away towards the right or the left, then he has fallen short with regard to true Islam, in accordance with his deviation. However, this inclining away is of two categories. Firstly, turning away totally, such that the person becomes a disbeliever, totally turns away from the Sunnah altogether, such that the person becomes a disbeliever, and judgment is passed about him that he has exited from Islam altogether. Then secondly is a partial turning away from the Sunnah, through which a person does not become a disbeliever, and he is not judged to be an apostate or to have left Islam. However, he has rendered his Islam deficient in accordance with the level of his deviation, whether it be a small amount a small deviation or a large one. And then the Shaykh mentions evidence for that, the hadith of the 73 sects.